We're good? Okay.
Hello.
Welcome to Conversations on Purpose. Today I have a lovely guest with me. Her name is Lotoya, all the way from West Virginia, and she's going to talk to us about recruitment and all things that we need to know to get a job, right? So, welcome Lotoya to Conversations on Purpose.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for being here. So talk to me a little about your background. How did you come in the world of recruiting and all that?
Sure. So, in college, and I think every recruiter will tell you this, they didn't really plan to be a recruiter. It kind of just happens. And so, at my college days at Lehigh University, you have your typical, vendors come, all the different colleges show up, employers show up. And at the time, I was just looking for an internship before I graduated to start to get some experience. That internship is what really opened my eyes. So you put in your hat in all the companies offering internships, and I was lucky enough there was one that was offering a recruitment internship in the sales and healthcare department. And so I interned with them, and once I graduated, I'm searching. My degree was in business.
Yeah.
Very general, right?
Yeah.
So where do you go with a business degree? I had a minor in marketing, and of course it focused on economics, but again, what do I do with that, right?
Yeah.
I had my picture, right? I'm gonna be this corporate world, I'm gonna be business, whatever, as a business analyst or just something fancy. Yeah, was not happening. It's really it's hard to break into that
Right.
with no experience. So
Yeah.
where I interned, they felt I did a great job and said, hey, well, there's an opportunity here for you if you find nothing else. And so as a recruiter with them, I said, you know what? Let me just start there.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I've been growing in my recruitment field for many years now, over 15 years. So
Very nice.
I've loved it. I've done healthcare. I've done the education side, and back in healthcare right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that is an extensive background, and I appreciate you being here. One of the things that I know women on a mission and women out there want to know is, how do I start? How do I get a job? I just graduated, or I've been working for a number of years and I want to switch. So can we talk a little bit about,
both?
a little bit of both of those things, and anything else you want to share,
Yeah.
to help our viewers?
Yeah, I think, I'm currently in my doctorate program at University of Charleston, and my focus when I'm finished with that, it's going to be women in leadership and how do we break the glass ceiling, right? That's a term that's been thrown around a lot. And so as women, we do have some battles that we have to face, and equity in pay is a topic, right? That we're still struggling to be equally paid as men. We're still struggling to climb into leadership, or do we even want leadership, because there are so many stereotypes that come with women and wanting to start families. And are we recognized, or do we have to change, be less feminine, be less soft and compassionate to be more in the male side? So when you're starting out, the first one, when you're graduating, how do I make it, right? And so you have to really tap into all your resources. Here's what I mean. So for
Right, 'cause
example,
what resources?
what are the
Yeah.
resources? So if you're at the phase right now, like early careerist, and you are in college, you have a career center and you have an alumni center. You need to be meeting with those people. That career center has connections with people who have graduated, who are always looking for employment and will choose you first.
Okay.
You have an alumni center who will reach out to alumni who have graduated, who are always looking to give that reference for people who have also graduated where you are. Every college campus has these two areas. So tap into that. They will do practice interviews with you. They will review your resume. They will do all of these things for free for you to be prepared, because a lot of people go in blind and think they can just apply and you'll get in. You need to make sure you are putting your best foot forward. And so practice interviewing, connect with those alumni, start talking and networking with them. Network your butt off, because the whole statement of who you know, it's not that you're name dropping when you're interviewing, but you can reference people. That's going to say, oh, okay, that's great. And then you will kind of step ahead of the competition and figure out what makes you different. As a recruiter, we're going to be asking you the standard behavioral based questions, trying to assess, your past experience. But if you're new, do you have that much experience?
Right.
So what are you going to tell me to show me that you can do this job without the experience?
Right.
Whether it's the projects you've worked on, whether it's the part-time jobs, or just yourself very well, what type of worker you are. You have to be able to give examples. We need examples. Your hiring leaders that are interviewing you need examples. So that's for your early person. So start getting some mentors. Start reaching out to alumni.
Okay.
Because you need to network to get your foot in the door sometimes,
Gotcha.
especially if you have no experience.
Yeah.
So second part of that, you're already in your career, you have some experiences, and you want to change. Whatever that change is, whether you're unhappy, you want growth, or maybe you just want to switch industries. That is going to be the hardest part, right?
Why? Why is that?
If someone isn't coming to you for opportunities and you have to go out and seek, we are in a competitive world right now. And I will tell you, on average, I see anywhere from 20 to 50 resumes for just one job. Sometimes we get more resumes than that. As a recruiter, I'm only looking at your resume for a couple seconds. I'm skimming.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the keywords. And so it's important when you are applying to a job.
Yeah.
If you're just waking up to say, you know what, something isn't right in my current role and I'm going to go apply, it's important you really highlight the experience that we're looking for from the job description. I have to see those keywords in your resume.
So what I'm hearing is I might need to go and get brushed up on how to even fix my resume.
Yeah.
And so are there resources out there to help me, one, make that resume pop so that the recruiter is looking at my stuff? Tell me a little about the resume if you can.
Here's a trick too. If you know the title of what you want to be, go on LinkedIn and find people with that title. In their job summary, you'll see what you need to have on your resume, because LinkedIn is a resume, right?
It is.
So that is a quick way for you to say, okay, does my resume look anything like this person's experience? Do I have the keywords in my resume to match this person's experience? That's a quick way to do it. There are, of course, your Google, your YouTube videos that you can see, 2023, what are the best resume tips? I don't need to see a picture. That leads to bias, right?
Yes.
I really want you to keep bias out.
But here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
When that whole picture came about, they were trying to negate bias because now you know who I am and all that. So now you're saying,
don't do it.
Don't do the picture.
Because there are lots of hiring leaders out there who have not been trained on how to eliminate bias. And unconscious bias creeps in.
Yes.
They may not even realize that they have these biases.
Okay.
So as much as you can keep your resume neutral, please do that. Even your location doesn't need to be on there. The recruiter will see that. We have all been trained on that. Your hiring leader does not need to know that right now. There's so many little things that could lead to that.
Wow.
So if you can keep it as neutral as possible, that's the best advice I could give you.
So you're saying probably just my name, how to contact me, which is probably my phone number and an email.
And a professional email.
And a professional email. That's it. Not share, hot stuff at yahoo.com.
My old one was Lolo_bomb. Like, I don't use that one.
That's not use that one. So one of the things we could do is create a new email, which I have like 3 or 4 of them now because I have one for my professional, one for the junk mail that I get all the time, emails. And so create
one for your career.
And one for your career, professional, right?
Yeah,
okay.
That makes a difference. I will skim right past you.
Yeah.
Because that means you are not ready for this role if you can't be that professional.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is tip number 1. I
Clean
love
up your voicemails.
Nice.
Yep. So we can leave a professional, like, it's not the trick ones like beep.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not here. you know?
Right. Yeah.
We want professionalism. All of that will turn the employer off.
I think that's tip number 2. So clean up that resume, that voicemail, start to get that professional look and feel going.
Yeah,
nice.
Exactly. So once you know your resume's up to par, you've researched what it means to be in that title, that your desired title, whatever that might be, then you can go in and apply. And then someone like me will say, okay, you have to meet the minimum requirements. Do not apply for something if you don't meet the minimum, because again, I will skip right past you.
Right.
And you won't even get a notification. So make sure you meet the minimum requirements of the role, because that's what I'm looking for. Then you will get passed on to that hiring leader.
Great.
Once you get that interview, that's when the previous examples I gave for that beginner, you still need to make sure you're sharp on giving examples. If you have references from people you know there, from
Gotcha.
networking, you have to be ready to kind of wow them.
Yeah.
And what's your differentiator? What makes you different?
Yeah.
What questions are you going to ask me to impress me, to show me that you even researched my organization?
Yeah. Yeah.
That, oh my gosh, we
That
love
still
that.
goes a long way.
It goes a long way, having questions.
So let's go back to the examples. So, okay, now I am getting brushed up on my resume skills. I've figured out how to make sure it looks good and up to date with the times. And now you're saying I need examples.
You do.
Like, what is that? You know, like
Yeah.
I need some more thoughts around examples.
We're looking for past examples of your work life that's going to help us predict your future, right? That's going to tell us, are you going to be who we need to match our values and who we stand for? So know the organization's values, missions, beliefs when you're going in.
Okay.
All of your examples will tie around that. So for example, if we value more than anything, and it'll be written on every company website, we value commitment. We value loyalty. So your examples, so in my past, when I worked at X, or when I interned or I volunteered, I was committed to the cause. You see how I threw in that word?
Yeah.
And how was I committed to that cause?
Right.
Tell them what you did.
Right.
Right. So when we were assigned a project, I made sure I started early. I was the last one there. Whatever you need to say truthfully, of course, to show that you were committed.
Yeah.
So using those key words to give your example and make it related to what's important to that organization.
Nice.
So you have to do your research. You're going to have to do your homework.
Yeah. Boy, I don't have time to do homework. Because, I have a family, I have people to feed,
Juggle.
and I'm juggling so much. Is that what I'm kind of, maybe that's what folks are going to be saying, like, whoa.
You have time. If you have time to look on social media, if you have time to watch a Netflix movie,
Yeah.
you have time. We use that excuse a lot.
A lot.
And we are all busy. We all wear multiple hats, especially
Yes.
women. The roles we play are just nonstop. It's a long list.
Yeah.
And bravo, pat yourself on the back. You are important and you are busy. But you can make time if this is something you truly want. Don't lose sight of who you are and what you want. You are that career woman. You are that professional. You could be that executive. You can make time, okay?
Yeah.
It takes 5 minutes every day or 10 minutes every day. Let me quick look on the company website. Let me quick jot down a note or put it in my phone. We all can make time if it's important.
Wow.
Right?
Wow. I know.
There's many hours in the day.
There is, and so it's being disciplined.
That's the key word.
It's it being intentional that what I'm gonna do this for me. I'm gonna
Be a little selfish. It's your time.
Right. That's the thing where we don't. We fear being selfish. We fear being, like, oh my gosh, I'm putting myself, first for a change.
Yeah.
And so that's tough. Yeah. And then here's the thing. I'm going to use, an individual that would say to me, I've been working for 30 plus years.
Yep.
I cannot interview right now.
Yes.
I am terrified. I maybe I don't present well, because I've been working for so long. So what do you say to someone who is
That's honestly like scared? Even our mother, right?
Yes.
So she has been in the work field in accounting for years, and she gets so nervous about interviewing. And those nerves and you could tell an interviewer that, like, hi, I have not interviewed for a long time. I am a little nervous, but I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
And obviously you are qualified.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? You have been doing this role and you have plenty of examples to draw from.
Yeah.
But sometimes on the spot, it's hard to pull those examples out.
Yeah.
So when I say practice and do your homework, that's what I mean. So I want you to go through, there are hundreds of behavioral questions out there. The more you look at them and think about, well, how would I answer that? You will be more than okay. And you can have a notebook and have some examples written out. We won't mind. And sometimes even I'll say, I'll be writing down and I have my notes here.
Yeah.
But you can go in with your examples.
I didn't know that. So that is something new to me. I didn't know I could bring a note, but not me, but someone who says, I haven't done this in so long. Yeah, I didn't know
They'll
that.
Respect that. And it almost will soften your interviewer, to be honest. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'll be gentle on you.
Yeah.
And sometimes we won't even get to the questions, to be honest.
Right.
It becomes more of a conversation.
Yeah.
An interview, we want it to be a conversation. Even if they start out like a drill sergeant, you can get them to get it to be a conversation.
Right.
You're telling them about yourselves. In your 30 years, look at them like it's an employee you work with. At the end of the day, this may be your future colleague.
Right.
Right? So it's just about how you view it. It's the lens. Switch
Ah,
the lens. Don't let it
yeah.
intimidate you. I'm just
Yes.
another person, right?
True.
I'm someone's daughter. I'm
Yeah.
someone's friend.
Yeah.
An interviewer is just another person.
Yeah.
So just think about, I'm just going to go have a conversation with them
Yeah.
and wow them with all my years of experience.
Yeah.
I have my examples ready because standard behavioral questions are just looking to get to know your past examples of how you've handled
Right.
difficult situations. That's the
Yeah.
majority of them.
So that's another key thing, and I know this is on the internet because I've looked at it myself. Behavioral questions. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And you said it. It's examples, real life examples of how
You've
I've
handled.
handled a situation.
And there's so some people are switching from behavioral to situational questions,
Oh,
but
okay.
both, it's all leading to the same thing. No
Yeah.
matter what type of interview questions, they're all looking for your past examples, and they just want to see how well you articulate them, to be
Yeah.
honest,
Yeah.
and how well you can give those examples.
Yeah.
And if you're unsure and you need time, you can ask them to repeat the question. You could say, you know what, I'm going to get back to you that. Let me write that one down and I'm going to come back to you with an example.
Right. So let me ask you this. I'm feeling this, that someone's saying, but I've been a stay-at-home mom. But I've been, haven't worked in like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
How do I share those behavioral situational questions? What do I do there?
Yeah. Stay-at-home mom is a full-time job.
Oh, yes.
That's organization,
Yes.
time management,
Uh-huh.
conflict resolution. I mean, should I keep going?
Wow.
So it's still work, and you could still use those examples.
So it's how I articulate
It's
those.
how you articulate it.
So if someone says to me, tell me of a time when you had to, manage conflict. Okay, I haven't left my house in, 5 years. So let me tell you about my 2 kids and their
Yeah.
conflict, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? I
Exactly.
could use those
You
examples.
can use those examples. Now, are you a stay-at-home mom who used to have experience and then you took a break? Now you're looking to get back. And so I just saw a resume like that where they took time off actually to raise their kids and take care of a sick family member, a parent. Now they've even in that time gone back to school and they're ready to get back into the workforce. Absolutely, we'll consider that person. Just because you've had some gap doesn't mean that you're not in the know.
Yeah.
I would recommend if you are in that place now, make sure you're keeping something current, whether it's you are going back to school, maybe take a certificate, do a podcast, start a per diem job, just something.
Volunteer?
Volunteer is perfect. Just something to show that you're still trying to keep your skills current, but you can use examples from being a stay-at-home mom because that's work.
Wow, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because sometimes, I feel like women are reluctant to go back into the workforce because they're like, I haven't done it in so many years.
You can come back.
I don't know what the latest trend is on this,
Yeah.
but it's just doing your homework, like
Yeah.
you said before, in any
And there's
part of
there's
it.
roles that you may have to go back in maybe entry level. There's roles that will train you. They're looking for maybe more customer service. So there's stepping stones to get you back onto the path that you want if you're not ready to jump all in.
Yeah, yeah. Wonderful. Wow, you've shared so much in the small amount of time that we have together. Is there any other tips or things that you'd like for us women to think about
Yeah.
before we say, okay, I'm going to go fix that resume and I'm going to go
Sharpen my interview skills.
skills. Anything else I
Yeah.
need to know?
And if you're that woman who is looking to climb into leadership, I would advise getting a mentor and an advisor.
Okay.
And even someone maybe outside of your industry who can give you honest feedback. Because sometimes we think we're ready for leadership, but are we? Have we taken any leadership training courses to prepare?
Yeah.
What does that look like for your life and your balance? Because leadership is a lot. It is a challenging role. There's a lot of burdens that come with that, a lot of responsibility. So if you are that woman who you feel you would be a great leader, I would start taking those steps, finding that leader in that title who's there, maybe a male and a female, and start talking to them, letting them know your desires. What is their advice for you to get there? I think without that mentorship and advisor, it's going to be very hard to break in if you don't have the right tools.
Yep. How do I find a mentor? I mean, I'm in a community and I haven't worked, or maybe I have worked, but I've been working these little odd side jobs. But where do you find mentors? How do I do that?
Yeah, you know, that's a interesting path because for me, it's about seeking out what I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal is to eventually be a VP of talent.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm a system director of talent acquisition. So if my next step is to be a VP, I've searched for top VPs in my area
Mm-hmm.
on LinkedIn and I've tried to connect with them and tell them, hi, you know,
Yeah.
here's where I am. I admire the work that you're doing.
Yep.
I see that you're doing great things. I would love to connect with you to learn
Mm-hmm.
and just see how I can also be there.
Yeah.
And people are more than happy to say yes and
Yeah.
help out that next person.
So in addition to a platform like LinkedIn, could I say use someone at my church
Yes.
that, I know is in this role,
Wherever
what,
you have that connection in your
wherever,
community, in
yep,
your
in my
church,
neighbor,
your
right?
neighbor, wherever you have that from, this is a connection as well. So if
Right.
you're reaching out, who do you know in your network that might ask a friend? I
Yeah.
mean, you have to, like I said, do your homework,
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately, or else you're going to be stuck
Right.
and
It's
stagnant and
not just gonna
comfortable.
land in my lap. So, well,
Mm-mm.
I mean,
That's rare. It can
that's rare.
happen.
I was just gonna
It
say,
can
I've
happen.
seen where some people, like, how did you get that job?
Yeah, and luck happens still.
But
God's blessings.
exactly, God has a plan, right? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes though, I need to put a little
Yeah,
effort
you got to
in
work for it.
and reach out and connect with people who
Yeah,
I may not have spoken to in a long time
that's okay.
and say, "Hey, are you still at such and such place?
Or who
Are
do you know
who
that
do you
I could
know?"
connect with to
Right.
learn
Yeah.
from,
Okay.
right? And be prepared. So the one thing I was asked to, when you're starting to meet with a mentor, don't expect that mentor to have an agenda. What are you guys going to talk about?
Mhm.
Come prepared with questions,
Yeah.
expectations,
Yep.
what you're seeking to get out of this. That way, you have a plan every time you meet with them
Yeah.
and it's productive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's a purpose to it. It's
Exactly.
not just we're just going to sit here and shoot the breeze,
Exactly.
right? So it's up
Exactly.
to you
Right.
to be prepared.
When I meet with my clients for coaching, one of the first thing I say to them, by the way, it's your agenda.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just here to drive you where
That's
you want
it.
to go, but you got to
Mm-hmm.
tell me where you want to go.
Exactly.
So yeah, so we have to do some homework there. That's really fantastic, fantastic.
Good.
One of the things you said earlier that I was chuckling in my brain because I was watching this TV show and the lady looked at one of her colleagues and said, "It is lonely at the top," right?
Oh,
And so
yes.
when you were talking about
Yes.
leadership, and if any women out there are aspiring to be leaders, it's
Mm-hmm.
not a bad thing, but we just got to be prepared, right?
Yeah.
Because it can be
It
lonely.
can be, especially women in
Yeah.
leadership. As I mentioned, it is truly, we are the minority in that group.
Yeah.
Women of color in leadership. It's a very small percentage in the US and in the world.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain industries that have a lot of women leaders,
Mm-hmm.
but especially the higher you go, the lonelier it gets.
Mm.
And so that's why it's important for us to promote each other up there.
Yeah.
We have to help each other climb that ladder. We have to help each other break and smash that glass ceiling. So that's my purpose.
Yeah.
That is my why.
Yeah.
And I'm going to climb and get there, and I'm going to bring as many as I can with me.
Nice.
So if you're interested in that, please contact me through Shireen and we'll continue to climb together. But even if you are lonely at the top, know that you are not alone.
Right.
There are many women who are at the director, manager level looking to get there that you can still connect with
Yeah.
and get advice from and still make it.
Fantastic. Thank you so
You're
much for your time
welcome.
today. I hope everyone enjoyed and got something out of this. Conversations
Yay.
on Purpose. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.